Hello guys. Again, we just learned about the pen tool. And one of the first exercises I'm going to have you guys do is called a redraw exercise. Now, for those of you who have used Illustrator before, this should be pretty easy. So I have two levels of this particular exercise. So I want you to be creative. If you're an expert at Illustrator, I challenge you to do the advanced option. So with this one, what I'm going to have you guys do is up on Canvas, and for those of you who are at Delta, it's e-learning. There is going to be a file associated with this, or two extra files. Each of them are for the like labeled EX1-beginner, and then EX1-advanced. All right, so I'm going to go through each one of these, kind of show you what they are, and I'll leave instructions because sometimes with a Mac, it is a little different as far as downloading them. All right, Macs tend to love to add another extension to something, and it will kind of like cause an issue with opening up an Illustrator. All right, so I'll talk about that here shortly. Okay, so you should have the files, and I should kind of go back. If you downloaded them, what I'd like you to do is go to File, Open in Illustrator to go and find them. All right, don't just double click on the file because sometimes on a Mac it will open up in the wrong program. It's easiest if you just go to Adobe Illustrator and go to File, Open, and then you can basically go and find your file, whether it's EX1 Beginner or EX1 Advanced. But I'm going to talk about that in a minute. So since we learned the pen tool, what I want you to do is I want you to practice with it. And here are a couple of examples that we're going to deal with. All right, so in this one, we want to learn the pen tool. And I'll be showing you a quick little demonstration on how to do this. But it's very important that what you do is in order to get it to me, you have to save it as a PDF. So I'm going to kind of like show you that at the very beginning, and then kind of like start with the project, and then you guys can go off and get your exercise done. Like I said, it should be a quick one. It's not something that's going to take an awfully long time to do, but it allows you to kind of like practice with the pen tool because the pen tool is a very, very important tool. All right, so you should see that on your assignment sheet, you should see the example of what both of these are. EX1 Beginner is like palm trees. EX1 Advanced is a car. Okay, so I'm going to kind of like show you how to do one. I'm just going to basically work on the palm tree because a lot of people, especially if you're a beginner, I would encourage you to go with the palm tree one for this one. All right, so I'm going to close that here. And as you can see, I have this one open. I have the beginner. I also have the advanced. I'm not really going to go through the advanced one. I just want to kind of show you what it is. All right, so with the beginner one, what we're going to do is think of it like this. There are a number of different shapes. Now you may be looking at it as, oh my gosh, there's a gradient in there. He hasn't said anything about that. And don't worry about it. I'm not concerned about the gradient. It can be solid colors. If you watched the previous video about the pen tool, you notice that I taught a little bit about fill and adding in color. So color anything you want. It does not have to look like this. I just want you guys to practice with the shapes. All right, so what I would encourage you guys to do is you go to the pen tool. And if you look at it, you got the palm trees. There are 3 of them, but you notice they're all the same color. And then there's a light version of it. And then there's these other shapes. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to retrace this. And don't worry about moving the artwork. It is locked, where you can't do anything with it. So I'm going to start where an area is that kind of like meets. As you can see here, this part here kind of meets. So I'm going to click that. And then I'm going to move up here a little bit. And I'm going to start drawing, wherever there's an area where it looks like it's changing some kind of direction, I'm going to click, hold, drag. And when I pull on that, you see there. It does not take very many points to create a curve like this. So if I come over here and I just click, hold, drag, I don't see how, notice I'm not pulling very far. And then go up here where it's changing direction around. And click, hold, drag. I'm not pulling very much. Click, hold, drag. Come in here where a point is, click, hold, drag. Come here, click, hold, drag. How many points did I put in here? I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I have 7 points there to create that part. It does not take 20. So get as close as you can. And you know what? I would encourage you, just go around. Go around, and then you can modify it later. Doesn't have to be perfect. So in this little area, I might want to actually go in here and then go to my point because it's too far out. So I'm going to go around just like this. And I'm getting to a point where I'm going to actually show like a part where that's going to be problematic. So I'm going around the palm tree. I'm actually going a lot more careful than many other times I've done this. And again, if you make mistakes, it's okay. Just keep going. Here's where the problem comes in. Notice the problem? Can't really see where the next point's going to go because you have what is called a fill in. You can turn that off automatically, or I shouldn't say automatically, you can turn that off rather easily by just going over here to the toolbox, making sure your fill is in front, and hit the red slash. If you're worried about the tool, we're not worried about it. Okay? Once you go in the toolbox with your tool and change this, it's okay. It'll turn that off. All right? And then you move your cursor back in, and it's like you didn't even stop. And just continue going. And again, we can add in them as we go. So we're going around the palm tree, like this, like so.
What?
Making sure that when we get to certain points, we can create little curves. So I'm going around this entire palm tree just like this. Now when you get to a point like right here where it does just creates a point there, what we can do is if you just go ahead and just click on the point here, what it does is takes off an arm where you can actually continue on going here. And we'll continue moving around the palm tree just like so. So you get around the tree. Takes a long time. So moving around, trying to do this kind of quickly so you guys don't have to watch a very long video of me demonstrating this. I'm just finishing up. That point here. Go around this tree as well. And again, I'm not very careful with this. Just again, I would probably spend a little bit more time. I just want to make sure that you guys are not seeing this very long video of me going around the trees. Go super fast now. All right, so I'm going to go around the part here. So I went around the trees. I'm going to go around to the ground area. Now you notice I did not stop at the trees. I did not change tools. I just went ahead and I'm continuing on with that same color. Because this is important that we actually keep that same color shape. Like so. And then we're going to end where we began and click it. If you remember from the video I just posted not too long ago, you remember that we always have to close the shape. Until then, it is not a closed shape. You have to close it. Now, since we closed it, does this mean I can go back and change things? And so I said, just continue going. If you make a mistake, just continue going. Because you can make changes. So like right here, I went to my drag select, pulling handles. I can go ahead and change certain attributes of the lines, just like so. Very easy. I can move them around, just like it's like clay. Very easy. All right, so at this point, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and fill it with a color. So I'm going to double click on my fill, and I'm going to add a color in. I'm just going to say red for this one, and I'm going to take the stroke off. All right, so now I got a red shape. Now here's the part that's actually very important, because what most students do is something that they don't have to do, but they just do it anyways. So like here, we have a big shape that's behind the trees. I see this more often than any. Once they start drawing, they go around the corner, and then they go ahead and think that they have to redraw the trees. You don't. Just continue going over them. So we're going to draw this big shape here. Go around the corner here. We get there. And I'm going to go ahead and change this color. I'm going to change it to like a light blue color. All right. So this is where a lot of students actually get messed up. Here's where they kind of ask, where's the trees? Did I just draw over the trees? And the wonderful thing about Illustrator is that you don't. Any of the shapes you draw don't overlap or don't interrupt any other shapes. All right, it's still there. So for these, what you have to do is just click on the shape, go up to your object menu, arrange, and just say send to back. And what that does is it puts the blue in the background with your trees there. So we're going to go ahead and finish up this by creating other shapes here. So here we have another shape. I'm just guessing where that one goes. And I'm not worried about too much about what's behind there because it doesn't matter. Give that a different color. Let's give that green. Give that green. Object, arrange, send to back. And I'll go ahead and do the same thing. I mean, right now it was covered, so I'm just kind of guessing where that one was. Give that a different green, a darker green. And then we still have this shape here. So I'm basically going to create another one that kind of goes around. And you notice how I'm not really going around the very bottom all the way, because it doesn't matter. It's going to be hidden at some point. Because I know that from knowing that I'm going to create it, and it's not going to be exposed. So I'm going to change that color to maybe a neon green or whatever. I'm going to go Object, Arrange, Send to Back, and as you can see, it's hidden. All right, so if I zoom out, you'll notice that here is my retracing of it. And then you would call it done. All right, if you colorize it however you want, now you notice there is a tree overlapping here. I can just click on the trees, Object, Arrange, Bring to Front, and that will bring it all the way up to the front. Now to submit it, you would basically go up to File, Save As. You have to choose Adobe PDF from the menu at the bottom. This may be a little different on a Mac than it is on a PC. So I'm going to choose Adobe PDF, and I'm just going to save it wherever I need to save it. But you want to make sure you choose PDF. I'm going to save it on my desktop for right now, because this will come up. And what we want to do is, for these, we want to actually choose Illustrator default. All right, what that does is it actually allows it to save it as a vector graphic as well. But, you know, save it as whatever you want, because this is the only time you're really going to use it. And then you go ahead and hit Save PDF, and you're done. Submit it, and that's it. So, again, as always, if you have any questions, feel free to email me. Or if you're going to be in one of the groups next week, you can work on it as well. All right. So, all right. Have a good night.